You could say he hit him with a rock, but basically Goliath fell by his own weapon.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you too, buddy.
So Tim, this is Justin.
This is Tim. Are we recording?
I don't know.
Oh,
Seth,
okay.
We're recording.
All right.
So yeah, Tim,
we're recording One Good Story, the podcast.
Is it that one? No, I thought we were doing the other podcast.
The other one that we do?
Yeah, the one that we talk about that we never do.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I had a dream once that I actually did that. This whole other podcast I had planned out, but when I woke up, I forgot what it was. So it was like so pointless, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell Tim this for a while. That was like 2 years ago.
So
I've thought
you
about
had
it
a
ever since.
dream that you and I did like a second podcast.
Yeah,
but
like
you don't remember if it was like an offshoot or something totally different.
It was all conspiracy theories, I think. And then
I would hate that.
and
so
I
much.
decided I know
It would
that's why I did
it would just be you very joyful and me grimacing.
No, the
entire
joke.
time.
The joke was really like we would pretend we're doing the One Good Story, and I would just break into some like really deep, like crazy theory, and you would just be sitting there like slack jawed, like what the hell is he talking about? And I would just go on a long tangent, and then you at the end would be like, so can we read the scripture now? And like it would be this really annoying you, but like 10 times worse.
Yeah,
than we normally do.
That would be 10 times worse.
I like it though. I think it's a great idea. We should do it. Seth, you ready? Okay, I got lizard people out of Mongolia today.
Cool.
Yep.
No, I'm
Seven
not gonna.
Sleepers of Ephesus?
I'm not going to indulge you. No,
Okay.
I was going to make like a joke to kind of keep it on topic, but I'm not going to do
The more you
it.
talk about what you would have done, the better it is.
Nope. Well, that's what they want you to think.
I know, right? So Bigfoot.
Anyway, well, giants.
Hey, you know what? The Bible does lead into some really fun conspiracy theories.
I'm very aware of that.
How aware are you of that, Tim?
I mean, I've talked with people who want to talk about that.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm a more dismissive individual than I like to think I am.
This is why we don't invite you to parties.
Yeah, it's true. I tend to be a bit of a buzzkill when it comes to.
We found out in our prep of this podcast that Tim did not get invited to parties when he was in college.
Or any time thereafter.
Even after, he would be in situations where he would notice that he was the one that was left out.
Yeah, frequently. I would find out that people got in trouble for something, and I'd be like, "Where was I?" And I'd be like, "Well, you weren't invited."
Yeah,
so
I had offered to have Tim to come to a party, and then something inside of me told me I needed to retract the statement.
I mean, I guess I don't think I have snitch energy. No, that's not me. I don't think so.
I don't know how self-aware you are about that.
Maybe I'm not. I just feel like maybe I just look like I'm not a good time.
No,
or maybe
you're a
I
good
have a
time.
very like disapproving look on my face a lot of times,
Yeah.
and people are just like, "Well, that's not going to be very fun."
You don't have RBF though.
No, it's not that, but it's just a matter of me just being like, all right. I also am very introverted. Like, I don't like it. Doesn't bother me to not be invited to parties.
Oh.
Parties don't sound fun to me.
You kind of celebrate it then, don't you?
I wouldn't say I'd celebrate, because it does, like, when you find out you've been left out of a lot of things,
Yeah.
that still doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you invited me to a party, I would immediately be trying to think about 7 different reasons why I wasn't able to go.
See, I totally understand how you feel, because I was also not invited to parties. Other reasons. I'm not going to tell you what happened. But there's a lot of stories there. This podcast is not the place for it. But I became the guy that invited people
That'd
to
be the
parties.
other podcast.
What's that?
That'll be the other podcast.
That's the conspiracy theory podcast. Yeah. Usually I'll be wearing an apron or something. But I would start inviting people to my house because I'm like, you won't invite me, so I'll invite you.
Yeah.
So I would host parties a lot more in high school and college.
I mean, that is the man who wants friends should show himself friendly kind of attitude. Yeah. It's biblical.
Boy, am I friendly.
You are friendly.
Yeah, it's good.
There have been many times in my life where we have been at a social gathering.
Yeah.
The two of us, and I have been envious of how effortless it is for you to talk to people.
I actually at this point, like I dread it, because I get to the point where I'm like, I know that I'm like with people, and I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be like, and it's gotten to the point because I'm like, there's so many responsibilities with being a dad.
Yeah.
That I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel guilty now because I feel like you're engaged, but I don't know what to do here. Like I want you to leave.
Well, you started it.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
There have legitimately been times when you and I have been at a party, and you start talking to someone that I know.
Yeah.
And within 30 seconds, you know that person better than I do.
No, that's not true.
I mean,
You feel
probably
that
not.
way, maybe,
but
but-
you know, you learn things about them that I didn't know.
Oh.
Like within 30 seconds.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's just like, because you ask interesting questions. And I'm just like,
Hey.
I can't think of anything to say other than like, man, the weather, you know, like that's about
You
it.
got to avoid the weather.
I know.
First pointer.
No.
Do not talk the weather unless it's something really interesting.
I literally am thinking, don't talk about the weather. And what comes out is, man, is it cold outside?
Oh,
like,
shoot.
it just
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
like if you say something about the weather, be something ridiculous or lie.
Or lie.
Well,
See,
'cause
I'm not good at that either.
What I've noticed is when you lie about the weather, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, man, it's supposed to rain next week. And someone's like, wait a minute, no, it's not. And they're like, they'll like retort, and now they're full on. They've already invested. So now you're just waiting for them to stop talking and you'll talk about something else. I know it's a bad tactic, but it's like, okay.
I just, yeah, that doesn't sound like it would work at all. But
It
I mean,
does more than you want to.
But I think it works for you because it's you.
I'm just flamboyantly weird.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Well, but it in a charming way that takes people off their guard.
Oh, yeah. Man, there's a lot of compliments coming my way. I don't know how to act.
That's all right. We should just get into the story then.
Yeah, so David was really charismatic.
David was seemingly very charismatic.
Seemingly. I
Yeah.
never met the man. But he seemed like a nice enough guy. He had some issues.
That just reminded me of the like the Norm Macdonald bit about like
love Norm
when he
so
starts reading Hitler's biography.
Oh, I love Norm.
And he's like, dead in 1945. I didn't know he was sick. Like,
one of the best bits he's done. Yeah. All right,
anyway, there's probably not a lot of crossover of people who listen to our podcast and people who love Norm Macdonald. but-
Anybody who I've invited, yes.
okay. Anyway, David and Goliath.
Yeah, he's
So-
a big man, Goliath.
Yes, we're doing a series on David.
Who's a big bulging man.
I don't know what that is.
That's from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, I don't like that movie.
Well, I'm sorry.
I have
is why we get
tried.
along so well.
I feel like that's a Gen X staple,
Uh-huh.
and I'm too millennial. I know, Seth. We're
Seth
not
is
getting
like,
to the topic.
What
We
is
just keep
going
diverging.
on here?
But it's like this movie that probably every scene was described to me or quoted to me
So funny, though.
before I ever saw it.
Yeah.
And so when I saw it, I was just like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like a cat biting the thing and getting electrocuted in the tree burning up or
I
the
watched
turkey
it.
being overcooked. Like none of this is funny.
I watched it blind. No one had ever told me about it. I watched it completely blind.
How?
I didn't have a lot of friends in grade school, and I was alone in Florida.
You
Actually,
weren't getting invited to parties.
I wasn't. I was a weird little kid. And so I would like watch like Comedy Central TV and like late night Christmas time. I watched it. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so funny. And then
Yeah.
I learned cuss words.
Yeah.
My mom was like, where'd you learn that? TV. Anyway,
Chevy Chase,
yeah. So he's a big bulging man, Mr. Goliath.
Norm Macdonald, and Chevy Chase references so far.
Yeah, we're in what, like 5 minutes? 8 minutes. Gosh, we're
Sorry,
wasting
Seth.
time.
Yeah, well, these were supposed to be quicker episodes.
I
if you
know,
remember.
and I just keep talking about stupid stuff.
So David, last time we talked about his anointing as king.
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that it's odd because he had there was a current king in Israel. Saul
It's a little
was
awkward.
the king, and
Yeah.
typically you don't get anointed king unless the previous king is dead. Like you get
Yeah.
anointed at like a coronation because the previous king has died and you are being crowned
Yeah.
in their place. But this is like a secret anointing
For a 12-year-old.
for a young
Presumably
man.
young man,
yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, somewhere between probably 12 and
15.
17.
Right, 17,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the top end. I don't know. But, like,
We weren't there.
he's watching his family's sheep. Like, that's what he's been entrusted to do.
Youngest of the family.
He's not a full-grown man.
No.
But it's a very quiet, secret ceremony. Samuel doesn't even tell the elders of the village why he's there.
Yeah.
Because if word gets back to Saul that Samuel's anointing someone else, Samuel and everyone involved is going to die.
Yeah.
So, David is anointed king, which should be like a lifetime, like remember moment, like top of the mountain pinnacle experience.
Yeah. Like graduating
And he can't-
college or something.
And he can't talk about it.
Right.
He can't tell anyone.
It's not the same thing, Justin.
And so, well, I mean, you know, it's
It's a big achievement.
and it's something that's usually a very public event and intentionally public event in the sense that like everyone needs to know and recognize
Yeah.
that this person is now king and has authority.
Well, that's why it's public, because everyone needs to know the face.
Everyone needs to
Back
know the
then
face,
especially. Because
and
there wasn't photos of him anywhere. It wasn't like, oh, that's the guy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the guy with the ruddy hair. You know?
And as far as rule of law is concerned, like it's very important that everyone knows this man is the king. He
Yeah.
is the law. And in this circumstance, it's very quiet. No one knows who this man is. He's not the law. He's just a kid who's now waiting for the current king to die so that he can actually assume the throne.
Yeah, it's a weird. It would be awkward. Like, you know, like you're waiting for this guy, and then not only that, you go further in the story, and I'm not going to put too far on that because I know you're trying to go after the David and Goliath story, but he becomes such good friends with his son
Yes.
that he's like
Yeah, and that we'll get into that in
awkwardly waiting for his dad to die.
our next episode.
Yeah. I'm not trying to push ahead, but I'm just saying
but-
it's weird.
Yeah, the whole and
weird.
that's really like the first half of David's life is bound up in this very awkward, which is a very mild way to put it, like his awkward relationship with Saul, because when we meet David and he's crowned king, like in the same moment we meet him and he's crowned king. It's not as if like we meet him, he defeats Goliath, he wins all these battles becomes victorious general, and then something happens to Saul and then he becomes king.
Right.
Like we meet David, he's king, and yet there's also another king. And that's not how kingdoms work. You don't have two kings at the same time.
And let's just talk about that real quick. The people asked for a king. God said, you don't want a king. Samuel said, you don't want a king. People kept asking for a king. They got Saul, right?
Yes.
Saul was the worldly king, head above everybody else, all that. We talked about this last episode. We see this situation, and you just said it. This is not how kings become kings.
Yeah.
But this is how God chose David.
Yes.
And it's so a little backwards than any other parallel storyline we can find with any other king that we can find in this like contemporary time, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And it matters because, again, typically, if you have an established king and somebody else is aspiring to be the king, that person is a usurper.
Yeah.
And even if, like, even in our stories that we tell where there's an evil king and the good guy is coming up, like, what happens in those stories is that person overthrows the bad king and becomes the king.
There's a stark event that happens.
Yeah, and also there's like an objective battle lines are drawn
Exactly.
between the two parties. Like
Yeah.
the guy who's rising up and the current king. No matter who's good or who's evil in the situation, it's a clear fight between the two.
Yeah.
And here, what the story we're going to talk about today is David fighting on Saul's behalf.
Yep.
David, who will replace Saul, is fighting to preserve Saul's kingdom.
Yeah.
Like the whole piece of it just doesn't really make any sense from a earthly perspective when you think about what a kingdom should be. Because again, and I think it's so important to say this as a precedent, and we're going to talk about this a lot this episode and the next episode, is that God has ordained David to become the king of Israel, and so we would assume then that God wants David to eliminate Saul.
Yeah, you would think
Like David,
knock him off.
yeah, God is like behind David. God is with David.
Yeah.
Therefore, David is going to kill his enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we would assume, because that's how we approach things typically, which is if God is for us, who can be against us? But not only that, then like if there's something in our way, some obstacle in our way, like we're going to remove it. And we have like carte blanche on how to take care of that because God has told us it's going to be us now. So clearly
Manifest
that needs to be
destiny
removed.
was used that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, this is ours. God gave it to us. Let's just take the whole thing. And nothing can get in my way of doing this thing.
Yeah, and in that story of, you know, it's ours, God gave us this land, the ends justify the means, right? Because we believe that God gave us all of this. Therefore, it doesn't matter what we do from this point until we get it. Like the things that we do along the way don't matter because God. So everything along the way, I guess maybe a better way of saying that is everything we do along the way is justified.
Yeah, which is,
And so our assumption should be in the story that if the story started with David walking into Saul's tent and instead of saying he'll go fight Goliath, just killing Saul, we would assume that's justified.
Yeah.
Because David has been anointed king. We read in the last story that the Spirit of God has now rushed mightily upon David and has abandoned Saul.
Yeah.
And so clearly God's favors on David,
Yeah.
and so David should kill Saul. That's what the story. That's where the story should go. But instead, that's not what happened. So we're going to talk about 1 Samuel 17, which is the story of David and Goliath. We're not going to read any of it because it's like
Oh, I don't have to read it.
no, because it's
Nice.
because if we read it, it would take 20 minutes. It's the whole chapter.
We talk so much extra.
We do. So,
Seth knows.
but we're gonna set the
And he
stage.
does, too.
So, yeah, here's the background. We just talked about it. Saul has fallen off. Saul has God has abandoned Saul. Samuel, the prophet of God, has abandoned Saul.
Begrudgingly.
And yes, Samuel's not thrilled about the situation.
No.
God has come on David, but Saul is now being tormented. There is an evil spirit, is what 1 Samuel says, that is tormenting Saul. And so shortly after David is anointed, David is called upon to play music for Saul. Apparently someone thought, or maybe they knew, like maybe music has always been something that Saul enjoys or soothes him or something.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they call on David because he plays a lyre. He plays a harp-like instrument. And they have him go
Sultry,
play...
actually. It's called a sultry.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway.
So David plays this stringed instrument, ukulele, whatever you said it was.
Ukulele. Oh, wow.
Sultry.
David got around.
Yeah.
More ways than one.
Oh, Seth jumping
Seth
in
with a
with the joke.
zinger. So real quick, pause.
Yeah.
We're getting Seth a microphone, right?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, good.
Are we? I
Because
don't-
he needs a microphone.
That's fine if Seth. I don't know. If Seth
you want
wants
a microphone, Seth? Yeah, he's not saying no.
That wasn't as emphatic as Andy is when you say.
Hey, Andy was like, no.
Yeah.
Seth, maybe.
Yeah. Andy, who is not emphatic, has been pretty emphatic about not being on the podcast.
Yeah, although we did put him on once. He had one noise once, I think.
He might have.
He made a noise.
Saul is tormented.
Yeah, go ahead.
David shows up. He plays his instrument, and it soothes Saul. It calms Saul down. And so Saul actually basically invites David into his company and makes him an armor bearer.
Yeah.
Before he ever gets to Goliath, like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna. And armor bearer could be anything from like you're my official bodyguard to this is just a privileged position in my court.
You're in the court with me now.
Yeah. So
like
when we've got stuff going on, you can carry like my sword or shield. You'll be in the room. Like, so if I get upset about something, you can whip out your instrument and just play for me or whatever.
Yeah.
So
how nice would that be?
I know, right?
Like, I need good
Privilege
music.
of being king.
Timothy, play some music for me.
Play a ditty.
Play a tune.
So, however, the Philistines show up, who are one of these Canaanite tribes who torment Israel. And they show up and they draw up battle lines and they say, we're going to fight you. So Saul comes and forms his group. All the soldiers show up. And because all the army is drawn out, David's oldest 3 brothers, who, by the way, are now part of this treacherous plan where their brother's going to usurp the throne, are warriors in Saul's army. And so they get called up. And because they get called up, David has to go back home. He can't stay in Saul's court because somebody has to watch the sheep.
Yeah.
So David goes home to Bethlehem to watch the sheep, but then his dad gets antsy because, like, his brothers are out there. He doesn't know what's going on. Maybe they've heard rumors about this creature or this Philistine warrior who, like, is unbeatable or something.
Yeah.
And so he packs up some food and says, hey, take this to your brothers and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So David shows up at the camp, the Israelite camp, and sees Goliath. And so what has happened is when they've drawn up lines or whatever, and Saul's emissary rides out to meet the Philistine emissary, they trot out Goliath, who is according to the tale, 9'9" tall giant.
Just shy of 10 feet.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Like in the so we talked a little bit about the David movie that we went and saw, and the portrayal of Goliath. He is he's very imposing looking. Like he's huge, absolutely humongous. And they do a neat little thing with the armor bearer where like they trot out his armor bearer, and he's huge, and you're like, not as big as I would have thought for a giant. And then it turns out that's just a guy who's half his size,
right,
carrying his sword and shield for him. But Goliath is very like portrayed as very almost cunning, and
he's got some character to him.
He does, but to me, so in the biblical story, like giants have like some context.
Yeah.
Like
What's
there's
that context, Tim?
well,
talked
yeah,
about
you want to do the conspiracy
Let's go,
theory thing, right?
bud.
No, but giants are kind of representative of this like line from Genesis early on of these creatures, and we don't
What's the name of the
know
creatures, Tim?
necessarily like the Anakim or sons of Anak,
Mm-hmm.
and or the Nephilim even.
Oh, there's the
So
word.
the Nephilim are these creatures, and it's Genesis. It's a story of Noah. They show up, and it's this unsanctified marriage where it's like the sons of God looked upon the daughters of men and took them
They desired
basically,
them, yeah.
and the offspring of this union
Yeah.
are giants.
Yep.
And the referencing is like there's been a lot of debate over what that means.
Sure.
Like, is it are sons of God angels? Some people have said like fallen angels, basically,
Yeah.
who then have this abominable relationship with human women.
Yeah.
Or like some people have just said, no, sons of God is just a way that God describes like Seth's line from Adam, and so it's an intermingling of Adam's line, which was supposed to be, or Seth's line, which was supposed to be righteous, versus Cain's line, which is ungodly, and you're not supposed to have these. And then but that doesn't really account for the supernatural nature of the offspring.
Right.
But no, there's not really, the text is not explicit as far as what this means.
I think
We
it's on
kind of,
purpose.
yeah, I think so too. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot of ancient Near Eastern talk about what this possibly could mean.
Yeah.
But basically, these giants are the result of this again unsanctioned union.
Mm-hmm.
It's this idea that like it's a repeat of the language of Genesis 3, where like Eve sees the fruit, she desires it, and she takes it. And so then in Genesis 6, you have the sons of God see these women, they desire them, and they take them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say, like every reference we have to a man and woman coming together prior to this passage is like, and this man knew his wife.
Yep.
Like it's this like new. It's obviously a sexual euphemism,
Yep.
but the idea of knowing is not a negative one in any sense. Like
No.
it's a deep understanding of one another.
It's a compatible thing. It's
Yeah,
not a,
and this is these
one-way
sons of
street.
God. They took women.
Yeah,
Like
that's-
there's
sounds like rape.
it sounds like rape. And
Yeah.
so this rape relationship between these men and these women produces these giants.
Yep.
And it's this offspring that is supposed to represent like the reprehensible things that are happening on
Yeah.
earth. And they are the like physical manifestation of evil,
Yeah.
essentially, in this passage.
Yeah.
So when Goliath shows up, it's supposed to like kind of ring a bell in the head of the
Yeah.
Hebrew reader of like, oh, guy is a descendant of this like evil that still lingers on earth.
Did you notice the complexion of of Goliath in the movie?
He was kind of albino
It
almost.
was like an odd. It wasn't even albino. It was like he was an odd, like off gray color.
yeah,
Like
his
he
skin
wasn't
tone was
human
different.
colored.
Yeah, although I thought again, like the depiction of him in the movie, like he's very almost sophisticated for
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
for sure,
giant.
for sure.
And like my idea of him would have been more like almost animalistic. Like I think I would have had him been more monster-esque.
See,
you know?
I would disagree. I think it'd be better. It makes more sense to have them like that because it's the cunning and treachery of that evil. Like that evil is not just a blunt evil. It's,
Yeah.
it's very manipulative. It's very like, you know what I mean? Like it seeps into cracks. Of
Yeah,
things.
I don't disagree, and I'm not like mad at. I'm not writing up a blog post about how I hated it or
You
anything.
should.
I just when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's not how I would have done it. Like because to me, there's something that's supposed to be a little bit inhuman about Goliath.
So are we going
And
to make
so-
a movie now?
No,
Now,
not
if
that I
you-
know
we
of.
have a Patreon, guys. So if you want, just kidding. We don't have a Patreon.
No,
There's a Substack though.
yeah, these are on Substack.
Oh,
actually, so-
I can't actually market that on the podcast, can I? Because if they're on Substack, they're
Well,
already-
I mean,
they already
you
know
could
it's
be
there.
getting this on your Spotify and not know that it's on
Oh
Substack.
yeah, that's true.
But anyway,
right, guys.
that's off
Check 'em
topic.
out.
Anyway, the point is like when I saw it, I was thinking like this guy kind of looks like just an oversized Roman Caesar or something because the way they had him kind of dressed and stuff,
Yeah, I see
like
that.
almost like it looked like he should have been in a toga with a wreath around his head, like but he was gigantic.
Yeah. Didn't see the
and
sun
I
very
felt
often,
like-
think.
But I felt like there should be something almost inhuman or slightly monstrous about him. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. But the
Besides
point
the
is,
point.
in the story, like you're supposed to feel like Goliath represents something that is devious and evil. It's not just like this immovable object, like
Yeah.
the obstacle that can't be overcome, which is a
Yeah.
typical when we talk. I mean, I think everyone on the planet. No, that's an exaggeration, but like David and Goliath is one of the most famous metaphors ever. Even if you've never picked up a Bible, if you don't know what the Bible is, you've probably heard someone make a reference to like Goliath or David and Goliath.
Yeah, I mean,
like the idea of the underdog overcoming the odds.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to a YouTube podcast today about like the what ifs of like war, like which country, and it was going over Rome versus like like the England of the day, right? Like the like Franco and basically David Goliath situation there. Like that's why Rome took over England. There's a whole thing there.
Yeah,
but like they use the term and they're not Christian. There's like, David Goliath. Like we all know what this means.
Yeah, it's just an understood metaphor. That, like for like the little guy beating the big guy, like or the heavy favorite. And while that element is certainly there in the sense that like we're not supposed to believe that David should have a chance, this young boy who is a shepherd should have a chance against a skilled warrior who is 9 feet 9 inches tall, right? Which means that his length with a sword is probably unbeatable, right?
You can't get in that.
So hard to get in. If he's quick at all, there's no way. And again, that's how you fought back then, right? Like it's the guy with the longer sword arm is the guy who's probably going to win most battles unless he's incredibly slow.
I mean,
right?
I think it was like if you're on a horse, it's 10-1. Like you're worth 10 like foot soldiers. So like a giant that's that big and has autonomy over his feet.
Yeah,
a horse you have to manage. But like I can only imagine that.
Yeah, and then the passage goes into great detail about the size and the weight of his armor.
Yeah.
Basically impenetrable. Yeah. And so there's really no way, right, for David to beat this guy. Yeah. So the metaphor is there as far as like the underdog story. But to boil this down to being a sports metaphor, for the 1980 Olympics is a little bit missing a lot of the point.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let's massage this one a little bit. 1980.
That probably does require a little more explanation.
Tim? Tell me.
So the U.S. hockey team, which was made up entirely of amateur
college players,
players who were amateurs, defeated the Soviet team, which was made of seasoned professionals who had not lost a game in
14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
Is that
no, sorry, 16. I'm sorry.
16 years.
Yeah.
It is.
They were good.
It is why, and they had beaten the U.S. like with 10-1 or something. Maybe it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. Very
beat the
lopsided.
NHL All-Stars at Madison Square Garden like months before.
So they had beaten the seasoned professionals.
They beat the best of the best in the NHL. Yes.
And it wasn't close, right? Yeah.
They were that good.
They were that good. They were supposed to be unbeatable. They were supposed to be impossible odds. And so that is, if you've ever heard the "Do you believe in miracles?" Call somehow that still gives me chills somehow. I wasn't alive when it happened, and yet if I watch the callback of Al Michaels saying it, I get chills up my spine.
I want to throw an American flag on my back right now and run through this wall.
Right,
like, that's how I feel about that situation.
Are you feeling patriotic?
Hey, real quick though, the Olympics are coming up, the Winter Olympics, and I'm so pumped.
Oh, that's right, because hockey's in it this year.
Yeah, and the NHLers are in it this year. So I'm just really, I'm telling you right now, I'm so excited.
I believe you.
Back to David.
So anyway, to simply say, "Oh, this is a real David and Goliath story," whenever we talk about a sports underdog, is really kind of missing a lot of the subtext of what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not just meant to be a story we tell to pep people up who have a big obstacle in their life.
Yeah.
That they can overcome it if God's on their side, kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's not that that's an incorrect application, but there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So David shows up with the bread and the cheese and whatever else for his brothers, and he sees Goliath down on the field. And Goliath is not simply sitting back and letting the emissary say, "Come fight our guy 1-on-1." I don't know. Did I explain that part? That it's 1-on-1. Basically, the Philistines are saying,
we all know the gist of that story.
Well, rather than let's have a whole army, we're just going to have our guy fight your guy 1-on-1, and the winner will take all or whatever.
Spoils.
And so Goliath is not content to just sit back and let everyone view him. He's out literally every day taunting the entire army of Israel. And so David shows up, hears this guy, and gets incensed. And is just this guy is totally disrespecting God.
What a jerk.
Yeah. Well, he's saying who is he to talk about like
My God like this.
yeah,
Our God.
like
Yeah.
this is we are the army of the living God.
Yeah.
Like what could he possibly have to say? And all the soldiers are like, dude, shut up. Like, have you seen that guy out
Go
there?
back to your sheep, bud.
So Eliab, his oldest brother, when he finds him with the food, is like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like,
Go home.
we already, Eliab, who's already having to like conceal this secret, and probably Eliab being the oldest, it seems like is probably not just a foot soldier in Saul's army. Like he probably
He's got
has
some weight to him, yeah.
he probably is somewhat important.
Yeah.
And so he's feeling this like I am a
He's built
champion
a
for
career.
Saul, and yet at the same time, like if Saul knew what was going on in my house, I'd be dead.
Yep.
And my father would be dead, my mother would be dead, my
You'd be
wife
dead,
and my
yeah.
children
Yeah.
would be dead. And so his brother shows up, and his brother's getting mouthy, and he's just like, "Come on, man! Like
Shut up.
we
kid.
already have enough problems.
Yeah.
Like without you coming in and doing this, like go home." And so he doesn't. He goes and he talks to Saul, and Saul's like, "Yeah, no, we're not gonna send out this kid." But David insists. He's like, "No, I know he's a warrior, but hey, I killed a lion, I've killed a bear." And Saul apparently at this point is just like done with it, and so he's like, "All right, fine, whatever. Throw on my armor. Let's see how it fits you." It doesn't. And then there's like a really important thing that happens in this story. Like David rejects Saul's armor, which I'm assuming includes Saul's sword. And instead he walks out onto the battlefield with 5 stones and a sling. Mm-hmm. And so Goliath sees David and taunts him. David responds by saying, "I'm going to kill you." Or actually what he says is, "God is going to deliver me."
Yeah.
To deliver you into my hand.
Yep.
And David strikes Goliath with a stone in the head, and then Goliath falls to the ground, and David takes Goliath's sword and kills Goliath with his own sword.
By doing what?
By decapitating
Slicing
him?
his head off.
Yes.
I want to make sure we say that because it's important here.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay. I think the fact that where I was going, or what I was going to say is the important part, is like that he uses Goliath's own sword to do it. Whether he stabbed him through the heart or cut off his head, I don't know if I think. Well, why would you say it's important that he cut off his head?
Because if he went directly to cutting his head off, like logistically speaking, that means he already killed him with the stone. Like he killed him with the smallest possible thing he could kill him with. It wasn't like he hit him, knocked him out, and stabbed him a bunch of times and killed him. Like that would be much harder, I think, right? Like if you're knocked out and you're getting stabbed, you're waking up.
Yeah.
But like it shows that the Lord delivered him like first hit.
Yeah.
And that for me just further like separates us from like logic to like this is a supernatural event.
Yeah.
This isn't just a he hit him in the right spot and now he's knocked out cold.
Yeah.
It's a he hit him in the right spot and he can cut his head off.
Yeah, I agree it's important to note that like this isn't some skill of David,
Right. Yes.
like that actually wins where but that's the reason, like the fact that David doesn't have a sword is important, because it's not the sword of David that kills Goliath.
Right.
It's actually Goliath dies by his own sword.
Yep.
Because David doesn't even bring one to the battle, like to kill him with. And so you cannot say in the aftermath that David's sword delivered Israel. Like the only thing you can say is that you could say he hit him with a rock, but basically Goliath fell by his own weapon.
Yeah.
Was felled by his own weapon.
Well, you'll hear Jesus saying this later to Peter, like, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Goliath died by the sword, his own.
Yes, his own sword. And I thought that was something, and again, I don't want to talk too much about the movie that much, but interestingly, like if you watch that movie, like David takes Goliath's small sword, like Goliath is portrayed as having like a dagger, which is hilarious because it's like literally big enough to be a sword for David.
4-foot sword, yeah.
And David takes that sword, but throughout the movie, like David is a general. He's after the fight or whatever. We never see David wielding a sword for any other purpose other than like the cutting of the cloak of Saul's garment.
Right.
Like, which we'll talk about in the next episode.
Sure.
But like it's really an important element to the story that David isn't winning by his own weaponry. Like basically because he is some skilled warrior. Israel is not delivered in this battle because David is great.
Right.
Like because David is a great warrior.
Right.
But David is a great warrior. Like what we find out as we keep reading the story is, yeah, David actually is a great warrior, and yet the story goes out of its way to make sure you know
He's not
that
a warrior
in this
here.
battle, David's not the one winning the battle.
Right. Yeah, they make a point of that. It's just like every other story of like the Lord delivering a certain army into the hands of the Israelites. Like it's the same. It's like, no, you might be able to actually win this war, like a logistic normal battle.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do it that way. You're going to walk around Jericho 7 times.
Right.
You're going to go up to the Amalekites, and like, it's there's so many stories we see God say, you could, but I'm going to supernaturally deliver it in your hands because I'm going to show my strength here.
Right. Yeah. This is that, and that's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Is it's the 10 plagues
Yep,
story of Moses,
exactly.
and like the slaves don't just rebel and overthrow the taskmasters in Egypt.
Yeah.
Right. God sends 10 plagues, and Moses' staff becomes a snake and eats the snakes of the magi or the wise men of Egypt. Like it's a display of power that's supernatural that happens. Daniel and the wise men. Daniel's delivered by falling into he falls into a pit and the lions don't eat him. It's not because he chokes out the lions or kills them. He literally is delivered supernaturally. An angel shows up, or a fiery man in a furnace shows up to deliver these men. They don't win because they're better fighters than other people.
Right.
Like, and you do have occasionally, Samsons and stuff in Judges and stories where there are, but over and over again, like the Bible wants to show you that like God's people are special because of God.
And this is what God's favor looks like.
Yes.
It's a great framework to see what it's like with Samson. You see the favor leave him. God's favor leaves him when he goes against what God said to do, and then God's favor returns because of his heart. Same thing here, like with David, like his heart was for the Lord. So obviously the Lord was already with him. We knew that based on the anointing, but then we see it with Goliath for the first time. Like, this is your proof of like the anointing.
Yeah.
This is your seal.
And so what David has said throughout this entire story plays out when he actually faces Goliath on the field, which is like, this guy is not insulting me, he's insulting God. And so why would I be like, God is on our side? Why would I be frightened to approach him? Which again, like, that sounds like a thing that's easy to say, but nobody else was saying it.
Nope.
The whole rest of the Israelite army, nobody else was having that thought.
No.
And so David goes out, and that's legitimately what happens. Again, it's not that like God's on our side, and it turns out David is actually Achilles, and he's just,
he's just a badass.
Yeah, and he's just too quick and,
right.
Diving between people's legs, over their backs, whatever, he's literally just takes a sling and a stone, and it's like a shepherd defending a flock of sheep from a wild animal.
Weird how that flock thing comes into play so many times. Anyway.
Yeah. So I think that's really, I know that's not
put a pin
super,
in it, Tim.
I think that's a good place to start, because the next we're going to talk about what this does for Israel, what this does for David and Saul's relationship, and that'll be kind of the next episode, is the relationship between David and Saul. I guess I could have mentioned, or should have mentioned, that Saul has offered a pretty big reward to the person who defeats the Philistine champion.
Next up on One Good Story.
And so it becomes pretty important that and actually what the story ends with is Saul looking at David as he's, as the army then follows in and routs the Philistines, looking at David and saying, go find out whose son that is.
Who's this kid?
Like, who is like, I know he's my musician or whatever,
dude, but is he my
but
dude?
What exactly is going on here? Like, go find out who this guy's dad is.
Yeah.
I need to know more about him. And that's exactly where the story is going to lead from there. But again, my big takeaway from David and Goliath is kind of the understanding that for the importance of understanding who David is as a person, like in the first chapter, God's saying he's not the one you would assume you would be king.
Right.
And then he's immediately thrust in a situation in this chapter where you're like, if you're going to pick a warrior from Israel to represent them, to be a champion, this kid ain't it. And yet that's exactly what happens, is God is not looking at his outward appearance, but with God's favor, it doesn't matter what your outward appearance is.
Nope, it is.
And so David defeats Goliath again, and it's not the sword of David that delivers Israel. It's the favor of God defeating this giant, who again,
showing up
it's
again.
It's God's favor, like working through one of his people to defeat this evil
Yeah.
that's still lingering on Earth, right?
Yeah.
To eradicate this evil that's present.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important part of the story that kind of gets lost in our more modern culture, I think.
Yeah.
But is significant. Again, it's like God is taking steps to show you that David is something more than just like a character in history. Like David's representative of something.
Yep.
Like David's chosenness is important, and the steps that David takes, like the decisions he makes through the first half of his life, or the first half of his story anyway. I don't know how you chronology. I don't know years wise if it's halfway.
Tim's splitting hairs again.
The first half of his story are steps of saying like, this is what God's king is supposed to be. Yeah. And so we'll stop right there for now.
High five, Tim. Good job.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys.
Love you.